The Green Mile movie that stars Tom Hanks is centered on a novel written by Stephen King. It was called so because the death row from the Louisiana State Penitentiary to the execution room had a green floor. Every second of the 3-hour movie is worth it, considering the iconic flow of events that looks more as a real-life situation than a metaphor. The story is presented as a flashback from Paul Edgecombe's perspective, who heads death row prisoners. In the movie, there is a struggle to ensure the calm and peaceful nature of the inmates. Paul treats all the inmates with respect and dignity despite their heinous criminal acts. Percy Wetmore is an entire contrast of Paul because he has a sadistic personality. The two contrasts form the basis of the movie, that is, the harm that individuals cause to others. Each scene in the movie attempts to highlight the same message. The first case of harm to others is that of an essential character in The Green Mile, is John Coffey. He is charged with the murder and rape of 2 girls, a crime he did not commit. From his time of admittance to the prison, Coffey's nature clearly shows that he is not guilty of the allegations charged against him. John had healing capabilities, which he used to heal Paul's severe bladder infection and later resurrected Mr. Jingles. The events showed his kind nature spirited with total calmness despite being a fiercely strong black man that everyone could mistake for a killer. Another case of harm to others was that of Wild Bill, a pathological killer who abused Coffey racially and assaulted the correctional officers. He was restrained in a padded cell on several occasions because of the unruly behavior. Percy, on the other hand, authorizes Dell's death, an agonizing and gruesome experience. Out of his cruelty, the guard fails to soak the sponge used in the electrocution process, leading to a painful death for the inmate. As a punishment, the correctional officers locked him in a padded cell for some days. The following events after this depicted how people can take advantage of others for their own benefits. Paul uses the chance to smuggle John out of the prison chambers, considering that Percy was behind bars. He intended that John could heal Melinda, Moore's wife, who suffered a brain tumor. He released Melinda's tumor to Percy's brain, making him shoot Wild Bill. Later, Paul allows John to be executed, knowing that his intentions for him were fulfilled. After his death, John confessed that Bill was the real culprit in the killing of the young girls that led to his mistaken arrest. It shows the weaknesses of justice systems to determine the actual offenders of a crime. As a result, Paul offers to let John free after realizing that he was innocent. However, Coffey confessed that he wanted to die because he viewed the world as a cruel place. John felt the pain looking at how humanity was so cruel. He watched Top Hat with the other officers before he was later executed that night. John requested the guards not to cover his head with a hood because he feared the dark. The electrocution scene is the most heart-wrenching and sad part of the film. The unfairness of the situation is a clear depiction of harm to innocent individuals. The scene also highlights the need to be human while treating others regardless of their situations. The inmates are seen as undeserving individuals because of the various horrific convictions against them. Despite this, it does not guarantee them human treatment by the relevant authorities. With such a portrayal, it is easy to judge the morality of the inmates without getting an actual glimpse of the situation. For example, Coffey was seen as a miracle inmate, yet that was not enough to completely forgive his transgressions. The correctional officers witness his execution even after he healed different individuals with his magical powers. The situation, therefore, calls for fair treatment for inmates irrespective of their actions. Furthermore, the story is a mirror of today's generation where vices surpass the virtues in the society. It is clear that no matter how an individual is good to others, the world does not guarantee them the same in return. The element of supernatural powers is portrayed as a unique talent that is meant to impact people positively. As a viewer, one could imagine the number of individuals that could benefit from the gift. The actual tragedy is that John was put behind bars for a crime he did not commit, even with his ability to save the world. In the end, he is electrocuted despite his series of kind deeds, even to the correctional officers themselves. The mentioned incidences align with the fact that one is needed only when he or she is beneficial to the group and neglected during their difficult moments. The movie is also a depiction of how crimes are left unsolved in the name of capital punishments. In similar incidences, the final decisions from the court are made earlier before the innocence of the individual is declared, thus leaving the actual criminals with the ordinary citizens. The security officers are used to cause more pain to the inmates. For example, Percy is known for his sadistic nature, a clear reflection of hatred against the human species. He enjoys the cruel treatment he imposes on the inmates without understanding that he is also part of the species. He also forgets that some of his actions are misconducts that could have him reported and given the severest punishments. Percy, however, considers himself untouchable because he is Louisiana's First Lady's nephew. Lastly, the mental and physical suffering imposed on the death penalty victims while the officers watch aligns with the message of the movie. According to studies by Mbah et al., it is disheartening how the guards can witness the electrocution of another human because of their crimes. In the real sense, they also commit crimes that, if possible, could make them death penalty victims as well. The gruesome death experienced by Edouard Delacroix paints a picture that the death penalty may not be as proponents put it but a barbaric act that steers terrible pain on the victims. Awaiting the punishment can be a worse experience than the moment itself. It is easy to recognize the images of mentally broken inmates sentenced to death on an electric chair. While movies are meant to display certain aspects of the actual world, The Green Mile is a clear reflection of cruelty related to death penalties. It calls for every individual to stop the fight against our own species and treat everyone kindly. Study Corgi can help you make your studies smarter. Visit studycorgi.com for more samples like this, study tips, and writing tools.